Welcome to the Happy Retirement Show, and we are so glad you have joined us for today because I think we're going to talk about the most important part of your retirement plan, and that has to do with income. Today, we have a featured guest, Hamilton Morales. He has come up and so kindly agreed to do our podcast with us today, but also he's part of a meeting we're putting on tonight. And Hamilton, I know your expertise is Social Security and Social Security benefits.
Yes, it is.
I look at Social Security as just really being a portion of guaranteed income.
Absolutely. In fact, when you look at doing income planning, if you look at income planning as a pie, it's a pretty large chunk of the pie. And unfortunately, people, when they're looking at turning it on, a lot of them just kind of, do it by the hip and not really give a whole lot of consideration about how it's going to not only affect them, but if they're married, how it's going to affect their spouse.
Right, because and you helped me with my wife and I know people that are watching this can't believe this, that I'm of Social Security age, but I elected to wait until I was 70 years old to start Social Security. And my wife is, right now, I'm 71, she's 63. There's 8-year differential. It was a big deal for me to make sure that if something happened to me first, which statistically is probable.
It's true.
That she would benefit the most because she had the greatest opportunity to benefit the longest.
Right. Absolutely. And, you're talking about widows' benefits, and that is definitely part of the planning that we do is when we're dealing with a couple, we want the one who has the higher of the two benefits to wait as long as they possibly can, not for themselves. I mean, obviously it does benefit them, but it's going to last for 2 lifetimes.
Right.
And so again, like you said, being the husband, statistically speaking, you're not going to last as long as the wife is.
Well,
and so
I tell
that's
people,
something.
Hamilton, if you don't think that's true, go to a nursing home.
Oh, absolutely.
And count the old men there.
Yeah, it's true.
You might not see any.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely. I agree with you on that.
So income. And really, you're in the income business.
Absolutely, yes.
So you're in the income business, and for so many years, people, I guess, just gravitate in conversations, thoughts, whatever. How much money am I worth? How much am I saving? How much am I putting in my 401k or whatever retirement plan they've got? How much is your net worth, etc. But then one day, it's how much is my net income really becomes the most important thing. Let's say your net income's $10,000 a month, and nobody cares at that point what your net worth is.
Right.
Then you switch back.
Well, your beneficiaries might.
Well, I was getting ready to say, and then when you die, they care about your net worth. But during your living retirement years, net income is everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, in the seminars that I give, and as I'm talking about Social Security, it's not about how much money you have. It's about how much income you have, because income is what you need to be able to pay your bills and to go on vacations and things of that nature. Your money, that's to the side. So it's how much income you have. And of course, Social Security is a big piece of that because, and of course, I think you already know this, but there's only 3 forms of income that can be generated that are contractually guaranteed. Only 3. Social Security is one, pensions is another, and annuities is the other. So there's only 3 ways you can guarantee an income stream for yourself. And of course, not everybody has the ability to get a pension.
Right.
Most people have the ability to get Social Security if they paid into it. And I know I'm in the great state of Ohio, and it's a little different here as it relates to non-covered pensions. But everybody that has an asset, a liquid asset, can turn on or put money into an annuity to turn on for guaranteed income. So most people are going to be able to do at least 2 out of those 3.
Right. And we have people come in and they take advantage of a complimentary consultation or whatever it is that brought them in. And they're sitting and talking, and they're saying, well, I'm going to do Social Security at a certain age.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like, well, they decided that when they were 16 years old. Now they're 60. I'm waiting till I'm 66.
Right.
That's what I've been going to do. And they really don't put the time or thought, or in your case of what you can provide, exact number preparation to making that decision.
Yeah. In fact, I have a lot of people that will say or ask the question, when is the best time to turn Social Security on? And I'll say, well, get your crystal ball out. Let me know when you're going to die, and I can tell you exactly when the best time is. So now that we don't have that, we have to make some assumptions. So we have to look at life expectancy and things of that nature. And so there's two different ways to look at Social Security, turning it on. One is maximizing the benefit. And the other is what is best for me in my particular situation. Now, sometimes those are the same thing. Other times they are not the same thing. And it takes effort, it takes time to look at the numbers to find out, based off of my situation, when is the best time to turn it on for me. And that takes people like you to crunch those numbers to be able to show them, hey, this is how you maximize the benefit, but based off of your situation, this is the best time to actually turn it on.
Now, I've met people, we've never had a client ever turn Social Security on at age 62. It's never happened.
Wow.
I've met people who have become clients who turned their Social Security on at age 62. And I've never met one that was happy that they made that decision and turned it on at age 62. Now, many times I'm meeting them at 72.
Wow.
And they've been drawing for 10 years. But they say, you know, I should have waited. I would have, you know, gotten more money, you know, et cetera. But who should turn it on at 62?
Well, it's those people that have to have that income coming in. And there are some, you know, there are situations where you really don't have a choice. You've got to turn it on at 62.
You lose your job, something happens.
Absolutely.
And you don't have other funds to carry you over until a higher payment, I guess.
Or maybe you have a job, but you don't make a whole lot of money. And so you can turn your Social Security on, even though you're going to get hit with the earnings test, you're still going to net out more money.
Right.
And so that requires you to turn it on. But I would say by and large, I don't say that's extreme cases. Because it does happen a lot. People do that. And I do know some people that they have said, we don't need Social Security. It's an afterthought.
Yeah.
So what could I do? And then my next question is, well, you know, do you want to leverage that money? Are there charities you want to give to, or grandchildren, whatever the case may be? Now you could turn it on at 62 and you can leverage that money into different investment vehicles or life insurance or whatever, or just start gifting to the grandkids right now. Why wait until you die? Have fun with it now and see their faces when you're able to give it to them now. And so there's definitely reasons to do it at 62. So I'll never say don't do it at 62, but you know, you need to have a plan. And that's really what it comes down to, is having a plan, understanding that plan, and then putting that plan into action.
This is a personal question. Your plan's to not turn it on at 62.
No.
Let's clear
if I can hold off, I definitely don't want to turn it on at 62. And you know, my full retirement age is 67, so it's going to be between 67 and 70. Is my thoughts as far as turning it on. But you know, sometimes life throws you a curveball.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah, you know, people are confused about what you just brought up, full retirement age. They think that's their maximum number, and they think, oh, well, I'm going to wait till my full retirement age because there's a bonus for me waiting, and I'm going to get the most I can get. Yeah. And that's not what it is it?
No, your full retirement age is the age that you attain where you will receive 100% of your benefits without a reduction, and you don't have to worry about the earnings test if you decide to continue to work. Your maximum benefit is age 70. That's your maximum.
So if a person's already let's say, retired. They're not working. Then there's no difference really other than the basic amount between 66, 67, if that's full retirement age, 68. There's no magic number about that full retirement age unless you've got this other earned income, correct?
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Most people don't. That's okay.
It happens. Right.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the earnings test?
Yes.
Yeah. So, if you're under full retirement age and your full retirement age is based off of the year you were born. So whatever that year is will determine what your full retirement age is. If you're at that age or over, then you can take Social Security and you can work, and you don't have to worry about the earnings test.
Right.
But if you're under full retirement age, taking Social Security and working, then you have to deal with the earnings test, which I don't understand.
In Ohio, we occasionally, I hear that called the give back.
It is the give back.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the give back because that requires you to give it back. You don't give it back. They take it back.
They take it back.
They take it back.
That brought up a whole nother thought.
Oh, boy. Don't go down that rabbit trail.
So. What's the number one, and this is a broad question, blanket over this. What's the number one mistake people make generally that you see?
Couple different things. One of them is well, this is what my neighbor did. This is what my sister did. This is what my brother did. So, I'm not going to do the research to find out what's best for me. I'm just going to do it the way they did it.
Right.
The other one is taking the higher benefit when it's offered instead of, again, thinking through that. And that's more on the widow's benefit side of things. Because you don't always have to take the larger benefit. You could take the smaller benefit and then later on jump to the higher benefit, which might be much higher later on. And so that's something that we counsel people with, and we walk them through that process because, a lot of times they'll ask Social Security, and quite honestly, Social Security is not supposed to give advice.
Right.
And sometimes they don't always give the right answer either. And so you have to be real careful. So we do want to make sure that we lay it all out for the people. Here are your options. Here are the different things you can do. And then if you have the opportunity to do a full income plan, then we can say, here's the best option for you based off of the information you've given me as it relates to whatever that benefit is that you're trying to get.
Right. Now, if you were going to give advice to somebody you don't know and don't know their situation, it sounds like the advice would be have a plan.
There's no doubt.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I'll tell them. In fact, there's many times I actually get on the phone with an advisor and the client. Yeah. The client. And the question is, they want to know, can they do this? Can they not do this? And I always tell them what they can and can't do based off of what the rules of Social Security says.
Sure.
But I don't give advice. And the reason why I don't is because I don't know their situation.
Right.
And I always point it back to you and your advisor need to sit down and talk about this and how this is going to affect you long term before you go and you do this. I'm just telling you, you can do this based off of the rules of Social Security.
Well, it almost comes down to there isn't a perfect answer. You have to choose the one you're most comfortable with and kind of play the percentages.
Yeah.
If you're sitting there in terrible health and you probably aren't going to live to be 75,
right,
it wouldn't make sense to wait to age 70
exactly,
unless there's a survivor benefit involved.
There's so much that's involved in making this decision. It's not one of those things where you just do it.
Yeah.
You really need to look at all the things. One is going to be life expectancy, your health, the health of, maybe your parents, what your parents' health was like, and is that going to be similar to what you're going to have to deal with? Are you in your 60s already on a lot of medication, and you're probably not going to last a whole long time? So there's definitely a lot of things that come into play. But my goal is to make sure that people have the information to make a good, solid decision. Sure. At the end of the day,
make their decision.
They have to make that decision,
right?
Whether they take my advice or not, right?
Well, this is best for you.
Well, I can tell them that, but at the end of the day, they're going to go with what they're most comfortable with.
Right.
My goal is to give them the information.
I've got a trivia question for you. This is based on having known my grandmother when I was approximately 6, 7, 8 years old. She received a check from the government.
Okay.
And we're talking about it today. What did she refer to that check as? Boy, I put him on the spot.
Oh, gosh.
She got her something check.
Social Security check.
No, here it is. And maybe this is an Ohio thing.
Could be.
Old age pension.
Oh, yeah. Well, Social Security is old age unemployment. That's what Social Security is. So that would make sense.
Yes.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Well, let me give you 2 more trivia then.
Okay.
Totally unrelated, but hey, it's fun. What did we call Memorial Day?
Oh, gosh. You got me some good ones here. I have no idea.
Decoration Day.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And when
was that?
Well, they actually changed and named it Memorial Day like in the 60s or 70s.
Oh, see, I wasn't born yet. So it's always been Memorial Day for me.
Yeah, he brings up age. Yeah, here we go.
Just telling you.
Yeah. Well, I hate to do the last one. What did they call Halloween? You're not going to get it.
No.
Beggar's Night.
Oh, my goodness. Definitely would not have gotten that one.
Okay.
Definitely would not have gotten that one.
We've tried to give you an all-round
there you go.
information situation today, certainly on trivia things that had nothing to do with the topic. But the most important thing of the topic is, and we thank Hamilton Morales for sharing this time with us, is you need to have a plan. And it's an income plan. It is not a wealth building plan, because the day you retire and mailbox money, which they don't really mail it out anymore.
Not anymore.
But when you're getting that monthly income, you got to have it right. We thank you for being with us today. Bye-bye.
Start building a more secure future for you and your family. Take the first step toward financial clarity by scheduling a no-cost, no-obligation consultation with Grayhurst Wealth Advisors. See if we're the right fit for you by scheduling a consultation. Call us today at 513-984-5999 or click the link in today's show description to get started.